You're 11 years old, standing on a marble balcony above a roaring crowd of 80,000 people, wearing a robe the color of dried blood, and the man smiling next to you, your own father, the most powerful human on earth, has just introduced you as his heir. Everyone is cheering, everyone is bowing, and at least 4 of them are already doing math on how to kill you. Welcome to the worst inheritance in human history. Let's start from the beginning. You're born in Rome in a palace on the Palatine Hill sometime in the 2nd century. And right away, congratulations, you've won. Your father wears the purple. He commands 30 legions, controls a fifth of the human race, and can have a senator executed before lunch just for looking at him funny. You are his firstborn son. You should be safe. You are, in fact, the least safe person in the entire empire. Here's the first thing nobody tells you as a baby. About 40% of Roman children don't survive to their teens, emperor's kid or not. There's no magic force field around the palace. Fever, bad water, a summer of plague sweeping through the city. The Reaper doesn't check your family tree, so already you've beaten longer odds than you know. Enjoy it. It's the safest you'll ever be, and you're 2 years old, drooling on a mosaic of a dying gladiator. By the time you can walk, the palace teaches you its real rules. And the real rule is this: smiles are weapons, and everyone is armed. You have tutors, the finest Greek philosophers money can buy, teaching you rhetoric, Homer, geometry. Very civilized. But you also learn, very young, that the kind old man who tastes your food before you eat it isn't doing it because he loves you. He's doing it because the last 3 heirs died of stomach complaints, and stomach complaints in this house tend to arrive in a wine cup. You have a mother who adores you and would burn the world for you. Good. You'll need her. Because you also have a stepmother, or a series of them, and each one arrives at court with her own sons and her own ambitions, and every single one of them looks at your face and sees the one obstacle between her child and the throne. And then there's your little brother. Ah, your brother. Maybe you like him. Maybe you played together as toddlers, wrestled in the garden, shared a nurse. Doesn't matter. Because the second your father dies, one of 2 things happens. You rule or he does. There is no third door. The Romans never quite figured out a clean way to pass power from father to son. So, who gets it usually gets decided the old-fashioned way, with steel in a hallway, while your mother screams. You're maybe 10 when you first understand this, that the boy sleeping across the courtyard, the one who laughs at your jokes, is also the one person in the empire with the strongest possible reason to want you dead. And you, him. Sweet dreams, kid. Around 14, you put on the toga virilis, the plain white toga of manhood. And just like that, childhood's over. Except in your family, becoming a man also means becoming eligible. Your father names you Caesar. Maybe Augustus. Your face goes onto the coins that jangle in every soldier's purse from Britain to Syria. Statues of you rise in cities you'll never visit. Feels amazing, right? You're basically a god now. Here's the problem. Everything that makes you powerful also makes you a walking bullseye. That purple stripe? Septimius Severus named his eldest, Caracalla, as Caesar when the boy was around 7. 7. Not because 7-year-olds make great co-rulers, but because putting the title on your kid early is how you tell every ambitious general in the empire, don't get any ideas. The catch is, once you wear it, you can never take it off. You can't retire. There's no quiet villa in the countryside for a former heir. In this system, you go up or you go in the ground. Those are the exits. And guess who's watching your every move? The Praetorian Guard. Officially, these 9,000 elite soldiers exist to protect you and your father. In practice, they are the most dangerous men in Rome, and they know exactly what they're worth. Over the centuries, the Praetorians will murder 13 emperors. 13. They once literally auctioned the throne off to the highest bidder. So when the captain of your bodyguard bows and calls you master, smile back. But count the exits. The hand that guards you is the hand most likely to open your throat. And it'll do it for a pay raise. Try relaxing with that job security, commoners. Let's say you make it, your father grows old or gets sick or takes a fever on some cold frontier, and one morning the messengers come running and it's done. He's ascended to the gods. You are the master of the Roman world. You are 20-something years old, and you control the largest empire the West has ever seen. And you have never been in more danger in your life, because now the enemies come out of the walls. The Senate, those dignified old men in white, we smile to your face and write poison in their letters. They remember your father and they're already measuring you against him and finding you short. Your generals command armies bigger than cities, and each one privately wonders, why him? Why not me? Half the men who will try to take your throne aren't foreign kings. They're Romans. Nearly half of all emperors are killed by their own people, assassinated or executed by Romans, not barbarians. The call is coming from inside the palace. It always is. And your brother is still alive. You cannot have that. This actually happened, December the year 211. Caracalla and his younger brother Geta, co-emperors, sons of Severus, hate each other so completely they've split the palace down the middle and wall up the doors between their halves. They talk about dividing the entire empire in two just so they never have to see each other. And then Caracalla decides on a simpler solution. He arranges a meeting to reconcile, in their mother's own rooms, neutral ground, safe ground, and sends in centurions. Geta is 22. He runs to the one person who has to protect him. He dies in Julia Domna's arms, her own son's blood soaking through her dress, and she is forbidden to even weep for him, because mourning a traitor is treason. That's your family now. That's the job. Caracalla then orders Geta scrubbed out of history. Statues smashed, name chiseled off every monument, face scraped off the paintings. It's called damnatio memoriae, not just killing your brother, but erasing that he ever existed. You'll do worse things before breakfast and call it Tuesday. So here you are, on top of the world, and you cannot sleep. You taste everything before you swallow it. Or rather, someone else does, and you watch their face. You change which bedroom you sleep in some nights, so no one knows where to find you in the dark. You surround yourself with men whose only job is to die before you do, and you know with total certainty that any one of them can be bought. Because everyone can be bought. You bought some of them yourself. The paranoia isn't madness, it's just accurate. Somewhere out there right now is the person who will end you, and the truly cruel part is you'll probably know them. You'll trust them. It's the food taster, or the guard captain, or the friend from childhood, or the cousin you spared because you felt sentimental that morning. Mercy, in this house, is just a slower way to die. You had plans once. Maybe you'd be the wise one, the philosopher king, the good emperor the poets write about for 1,000 years. Maybe you'd be loved. The odds are not with you. 68% of Roman emperors die violently. Not old, not peaceful, not surrounded by grandchildren, violently. Murdered, executed, forced onto their own swords, torn apart by the very guards who swore to protect them. That's not the worst case scenario. That's the base rate. That's the average Tuesday for a man wearing your color. And one day, it comes for you too. Maybe it's on a frontier road, far from Rome. Caracalla, the boy who murdered his brother to keep the throne, rules 6 more years. Then on the 8th of April, 217, on the road near Edessa, he stops to relieve himself. He steps away from his guards for one private, human, undignified moment. And a soldier of his own bodyguard, a man he trusted, walks up and puts a single blade into him. That's it. That's how the most powerful man in the world goes. Not in a great battle, not on a golden bed. Pants down, on a roadside, killed by his own guard. Because the prefect who wanted his throne whispered to the right man at the right moment. You spent your whole life climbing to the one seat everyone in the world wanted. And the higher you climbed, the more hands reached up to pull you down. There was never a version of this where you got to grow old. The purple was never a gift. It was a countdown. But say you're lucky. Say you dodge the blades, outlive the plots, die of something as boring as a fever in your own bed. You've won, so you take your eldest son aside, the one you love, and you drape him in the purple, and you put his little face on the coins, and you name him Caesar while he's still young enough to think it's an honor. You've just made him the most hunted person in the empire. You've handed him the food tasters and the sleepless nights, and the brother he'll one day have to kill. You've carved the exact same fate into him that your father carved into you. He smiles up at the cheering crowd. He doesn't know yet. He will. You're born in the purple, kid. It's the most beautiful color in the world. And it's the last one most of you ever wear.